But yeah, live on Twitch. We are doing we are the Damo, Dee and the Boyz podcast.
Yes, sir.
And this is episode 6. Yeah, episode 6. Video games gone Hollywood part 2.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's get it. Let's go into the list. Last thing we did was
whoa. Before we get the Twitch stream started, we got to introduce our other guests down here.
Oh yeah, everybody know the tragic one himself right there. Tragic Mike, aka Old Man Pops, is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't think you even been on the pod since the first one. But
yeah,
of course, like I said earlier, it's been 3 months almost since we did the first one of this. Since we did episode 5.
I got you.
But it's all good though. We're gonna work it out.
and of course, if you haven't seen part 1, the link to that will be somewhere up yonder.
Yeah. We'll drop it. Okay, let's see. Okay, I was way down there. Let's see. So, yeah, in the first one we covered Super Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Wing Commander, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and Resident Evil. So we covered some of the heavyweights, if not most of the heavyweights.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's going to get gritty. Let's go get gritty
Down to the nitty gritty.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life is the next one.
Dad, are you streaming for what?
Yes, baby, I'm streaming. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
I seen it, but I don't remember nothing about it. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming it wasn't that bad. So
Fake boobs on budget course.
it is Monday.
This is Monday,
Okay.
but it's a Monday morning.
It's not Monday morning. It's Monday evening.
Monday morning. It's
Okay.
right now.
Anywho, yeah. Mike, do you remember anything about Lara Croft, The Cradle of Life?
Fake boobs on bungee cords.
Yeah, pretty much what the first one was.
Second one, same way.
Did they do a third one? I know I'm probably skipping ahead, but actually, I don't think they did. No, I don't think they did. You want to know what's real funny too? I bought this DVD like not too long ago, but I don't remember nothing about it and watched it. Like,
You might want to watch it.
yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, but I just hadn't seen it in a long time.
Right.
So I guess, like I said, I don't remember anything, really memorable about it, other than it's kind of like a continuation of the second one. So it's got Gerard Butler, and I seen that when I put the little cursor over it. So we'll go ahead and skip on past that one into one I personally want to talk about, and I personally want to drag through the dirt. I want to drag through the dirt. That House of the Dead. Man, I'm gonna tell you, dog. Like when I was like, when you young, you never really think about movies being good or bad that much. You don't become much of a critic,
movies.
right? You just kind of happy to have it,
Right.
But bro, when I seen this, like I think Nick had rented it and we had watched it.
Shout out to Nick.
Bro, we kicked this movie down, and it deserves every bit of it. It deserves every bit. That's all I got to say. Of course, based on Sega's House of the Dead series,
Which is a great franchise that overlooked.
Good series.
Yeah, very good series.
But if he
Yep.
was like
Good
that,
series. But
if it was like that,
The movie was
it'd be like that.
what you say, Damo? Trinity.
Real.
trash
That's
over
just
trash. Like I knew it was trash. Like I said, even I was maybe in junior high, I think, but I knew it was trash even then. It was just bad. Of course, it's I think it was the first movie done by the infamous Bowl, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was the
He's
first
done-
one I knew about anyway that he did.
Yeah, because he's done some bad ones over the years, and that
Yeah.
that started it all.
Oh, trust me, he's on here a couple times, as you can see through that list if you know. Yeah, he's there. Like I know at least I see 4 or 5 times, and we'll get to them too and how bad they are. But it literally had zombies doing flips and throwing axes and stuff. I like doing front flips, dog. I do remember that being terrible. That was just
Why would you
a
want
bad part,
Parkour zombies. Come on now.
dude. It was. I was like, man, this
I don't know.
is just wrong.
I see Mike down there. He's sitting there like, oh God.
Have you ever seen it, Mike? He just bounced down. He was like, you know what? He's like, I'm done.
He said, I'm out.
But yeah, it was one of the movies, boy, that's just not good. Just, I don't know. It's
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't House of the Dead take place on an island?
yeah, it was something like
There's
kinda
like
that
a party or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And they got trapped and by this old crazy psycho dude, and he was like a mad scientist, something other. Hold on, I'm gonna click on it so I can see if I can refresh my memory a little bit. That's probably what I should have did with Tomb Raider. Let's see. I'm just gonna skim over a little bit of the main part, the plot. After booking a boat trip to attend a rave on an island located off the coast of Seattle named Isla del Morte, which means Island of the Dead, 2 college students, Simon and Greg, meet up with 3 girls, Alicia, Karma, and Greg's girlfriend, Cynthia. When the 5 arrive at the dock, they find that they are late and the boat that is supposed to take them to Isla del Morte has already left. A boat captain named Victor Kirk and his first mate, Salish, offered them a ride on their boat. I'm not going to, it's a whole lot. I mean, if you want to really, I advise not even really reading this, but going and watching it. It's on somewhere. It's probably on Tubi, but probably a little good old
Don't say
Tubi.
that because I got to put it on my watch list.
It probably is. I wouldn't put it past. Like, I mean, it's look. Check this out. This is funny. It grossed 10.2 million. Ooh, it had a total gross loss of 13.8 against a budget of 12 million. Dang.
So technically, they made their money back and then some.
Hold on. Yeah, they barely made their money back. They barely made their money back for sure. So they got lucky. Like folks watched it.
Considering the fact that Bowl made it or whatever, yeah, that is a surprise in itself.
Yeah, very much. But like I said, I don't think people really knew about Ubo much until this happened. And yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they did have a sequel that was like, but the sequel, if I'm not mistaken, was released to home media in 2005. I thought it was on Sci-Fi Channel. I'm sure it was, but but anywho, yeah, that House of the Dead.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you wanted just a good laugh, watch it. But other than that, don't expect nothing good, no high hopes. Okay, we're going to jump right to Resident Evil Apocalypse, which I think aside from anything, had a dope soundtrack.
That was one of the high points.
Oh, right now, baby. But my bad. What'd you say?
The Apocalypse soundtrack I thought was real cool, but I do have some what I like to call minor beasts with that movie.
Drop.
Why is Mike Epps a zombie?
Wait, was that? Yeah, that was the one with him. Now he wasn't a zombie, but he was in it, and he should have been a zombie because he shouldn't have been in it. If anything,
It's like, how you gonna have this comedian in this video game horror movie?
you know how it is. It's one of them things where somebody get a little hot, and I think it was just like, I don't know, because it seems too out of place. I almost think that he was just near the set, and they were just like, "Mike Epps, I like you. You want to come have a role?" It's like, "Yeah, man." 10, 35, and jump right in. And they were like, "Okay, come on, we'll write your role." So they probably wrote, just threw him in there for a minute. Love Mike Epps, but this was not for him.
And you said it right. He was in there for a minute.
Yeah, he was in there for like a hot minute. Yeah, because literally. Because, of course, we're going to talk about Extinction, where he actually did have a little bigger role. But I think he did just have like one little part in Apocalypse where he popped up, where he was like trapped in the city. But the cool thing I would say about when they did Apocalypse, it was like when they really actually started to put more video game characters into the franchise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, well, this is when they put some of the main characters. This is when let's see, Apocalypse. I think that's when was it Jill? Yeah, Jill was
Jill Valentine.
Right, because this wasn't the original. Jill was like the actual. Wait, hold on, Apocalypse. I'm thinking of was it? Yeah. Apocalypse was the one that had Nemesis in it, right? Yeah. Because they had Nemesis version Jill in it. Where she's got like the like halter top and the and stuff like that, little skirt.
The scantily clad version of it.
Right. When she was a little more casual than her Stars outfit.
Right.
And but it was I remember I seen it in theaters. It was pretty cool. I got my personal grievances with the Resident Evil franchise but I understand. Like I said, that's one thing about me when it comes to some things compared to some other fans. I understand that directors and stuff are going to take their own liberties and, try to change up the storylines, but still have some of the resource material in there. That's one thing I care about is when they have some of it at least. Yeah. Even though I would say they slacked on it a little bit because they focused too heavy on Alice, but it is what it is. Like I said, at that time, we weren't really getting a lot of video game movies. There was a big separation for a while.
Well, Apocalypse came out in what, 2005, 2006?
2004.
Okay, so yeah, about around that time, the emphasis on video game movies wasn't a big deal. Like they were, like at that time, they were still making big blockbusters. And when it came to the video game movies, I think they were putting less money into those, and they were just kind of throwing them out to please a certain fan base.
Technically, yeah. But, like you see the dates on here, it's got where it's hold on, is it still showing? Oh, I gotta jump between browsers. Yeah, it's still showing. But like right here where they had Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, Street Fighter, it was like 93, 94, 94, Mortal Kombat 95, Annihilation 97. They were still kind of staying together, every couple of years, if not, the same year or 1 year apart, they had some video game movies coming out. But and then even when they did, of course, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, but it was like kind of a gap at one point.
They would always have that gap in between movies,
right?
In between the video game movies to kind of let them breathe, and then you would have that. Oh, I wish they would do a movie based on so and so. Well, here you go.
Right, and I think this was the first one. Yeah, this is the first one, if not the only one, to have as many have a biggest franchise. Because I think there's like 5 or 6 Resident Evil, something like that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go through there and count them. They're on here, but
which is mind-boggling.
It is. It is. Like for Capcom to you know, I don't know if it's based on Capcom, but I would say this because I noticed this. I looked at this as well. Like the box office for the Resident Evil movies was pretty good. You know, it wasn't horrible. They stayed in like the 100 millions, and it kind of got bigger after that. But yeah.
Well, like I said, there was a you know, the Resident Evil fan base has always been there. So
right. And plus, I think they capitalize on like the zombie genre. You know, there's a lot of people involved. You know, liking that. You know, the zombie audience, the video game,
the
post-based audience,
apocalyptic zombie movies. Yeah,
right.
those are, you know, were starting to become a real big thing.
Right. Yeah, that's around that time. Yeah, where a lot of like the zombie movies, was starting to resurface.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to give Capcom credit. But my beef with Capcom is I need for y'all to make a decent Street Fighter movie. That's all I ask.
I don't think it's gonna happen. the closest they even come close was that little fan film that got turned into like a big thing with Ken and Ryu. But like I said, I think that I don't even know if they really had their hands in that, other than maybe approving it. I could be wrong. But okay, let's pass on past Apocalypse and go to another infamous Ubo movie.
Oh God!
And what's funny is that nobody this was one of this lets you know that Ubo was grabbing just any kind of licenses.
He was pulling the straws.
Right. So for some odd reason they was giving it to him too, because this is if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong because Info Games did. Yeah, my bad. It wasn't. I'm about to say Sega did Alone in the Dark. No, it's Info Games. But like I forgot about Alone in the Dark, the game, honestly, because it's a PC game. It started out as a PC game, so nobody really knew about it. But if you know, you know. But Alone in the Dark is technically one of the predecessors to the Resident Evil franchise, like far as the survival horror, you know.
Yeah.
Like PC was kind of big into it, but you know, I think Alone in the Dark, if I'm not mistaken, was like one of the first games that had like the tank controls and stuff like that. And
yeah, trust me, I've watched walkthroughs of Alone in the Dark on PC, and it's the tank controls. Tank controls.
Right. Now we'll say the games later on started to look a lot better because I think the last one I remember they did, I forgot the name of it. It started to look a little bit like Silent Hill, kind of like that. But I don't remember much about it. It was so long ago. I think it was on like PlayStation 2, maybe Xbox, the first Xbox, I think, when I saw it. Because Kenny had he borrowed it or rented it or something, but I don't remember much about it. But back to the movie. It was it Christian Slater? I think it was Christian Slater in there. It'll pop up on here.
Yeah.
Christian Slater was in it. And it was so bad. I don't even remember the premise of the dang movie. Oh, let me click on it. I got to
look, that's one of the movies you put on and you watch like the opening credits and then you fall asleep. That's the movie you put on and you sleep on.
As soon as you start seeing them names come across there, you see the names again, realizes the ending credits.
Yeah, by the time you wake up to like turn, you know, your TV or whatever off, it's like, dang, it's the opening credits already. The closing credits already, and it's back to the title screen on like DVD or something.
Exactly. It's one of the ones, boy. Because I remember watching because I think Pepe had borrowed it. My cousin Pepe, I think, we'll say he borrowed it. He didn't borrow it, but we'll say he borrowed it. That's what I'm gonna say.
Should have skateboard on it. That's what he should have.
But he should have. But had Tar Reed in it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Christian Slater was the supernatural detective. Yeah, it was weird because I remember he did like a lot of like narrative stuff. You know, it was just it was like, why would you have this in kind of like a horror movie like this?
Yeah, because with a horror movie you expect to see like some action, maybe some jump scares, but it was more narration probably more than anything. It's just like you sit there and you just kind of like, bruh, shut up.
it kind of had like a little bit of action. It just wasn't. Yeah, it was just like it was weird, dude.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, I remember it was that. That was like I said. That's one of the ones I don't remember a whole lot about from back in the day, but I do remember it wasn't good. And yeah, Steven Dorff was in it. You know, he hadn't been doing a lot either. They kick him in the back now for talking bad about superhero movies, but we just gonna skim over that because even though he was in one,
right?
But, you know, anywho,
we ain't gonna talk about that. We'll
Right.
save it for another podcast.
right. Let's see what else. What was next? Hold on. Oh my gosh. There you go. I'm over hitting the wrong switch. Doom. Which
Doom was okay.
yeah, Doom was, and surprisingly enough, you know, it had The Rock in it, so it was a pretty hefty budget. It had The Rock and I think the first time I might have ever seen Carl Urban.
Yeah,
I can't remember if this was first or if it was Lord of the Rings, but I remember seeing this is when he had like, you know, I was surprised enough. He had he was like technically the main character aside from The Rock, you know.
yeah, and I gotta give credit to The Rock for you know that role because that was like one of his like early roles.
Right. That's what he was kind of like getting whatever he could get as well.
Yeah,
He was
really getting his feet wet, but
right.
he did a good job in Doom, and it stuck to the premise of the game.
Somewhat, yeah, for the most
somewhat.
part. But they didn't. But of course, you know, if you was to really drop it off into like how the game actually is, then it would fall flat because you know the game at that time. I'm not even sure if Doom Doom what was it 3 or something like that. Whichever one it was, like I forgot the name of it, but it was the one before. Oh, what was it? Of course, the one right after 64. But of course,
we
Doom,
don't talk about Doom 64 around here.
right? But you know, they don't have much story, so you kind of had to make something.
It says I'm Duke Nukem and I'm shooting everything. That's it.
Right. And the cool thing about Doom is you don't really need much story. It's just like you need just some kind of plot device to say, hey, you know, there's this other dimension with these like hellish demonic creatures, and we got to kill them, and we're in space.
Right.
It's almost like taking the ideas from like the movie Alien and just replacing the aliens with like demons,
right?
But they're demon aliens or something. I don't know. So I mean, you can kind of. That was one of the ones. It's not like Mario Brothers where you really had to scramble your brain to decide how you was going to put this out. You know,
but for the most part, Doom has been one of those like gaming franchises that has really always been simple, and straightforward and to the point. So they did a movie that was simple, straightforward and to the point. So I got to give them that.
Right? Yeah, you didn't need a whole. You know, like I said, you didn't need a whole lot for it. And one of the coolest things I do remember about the Doom movie was, like I said, spoiler alert, but I don't care the movie. Like I said, it came out in 2005. You ain't seen it by now.
Something wrong with you.
Right. Then cut the podcast off, go watch the movie, come back, finish the podcast. but like literally the last scene of the movie, it goes in the first person mode, like straight up video game style. And I was like, oh, that is dope, you know, for them to add that little, you know, homage to the game in there. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man.
I thought it was done well, and they didn't mess it up.
And it did, for some reason, spawn some sequels. I know some of them were on Sci-Fi Channel.
But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Dang. But I had watched one of them. It wasn't bad. It was just a little slow. So, like I said, you can tell the big difference between, of course, like I said, this one and the ones on there. I'll just say that. But but because you know the ones on it's like the sequels, I guess they're not really true sequels. It's just kind of like the same concept redone.
Right.
Because I think it's called like Doom something, like Doom Annihilation or something like that. It's you know how that go.
Yeah.
Basically, a whole different story. They change it, but I will say this: from what I saw from that sequel, it did actually play on more of the whole like demonic type creatures in another dimension type thing. I will give them that. They weren't as PC as they were in the big budget version.
Yeah.
All right, on to another Ubo bomb.
Oh God.
And what's messed up is I used to love the Blood Rain video game. I loved it. I thought it was a dope video game.
Then the movie came out.
Yeah, well, it was like, because I think what was it on PlayStation 2? Because
Blood
they
Rain,
did
I think, was
several.
on PS2.
Right, and it was like a pretty, like I said, it was a great little stealth vampire slash, hunting World War II Nazis, in the game.
Yeah, it almost paid homage to like Wolfenstein.
Right. But the thing is, if I'm not mistaken, I might have to click on it, but I think in the Blood Rain movie they changed it a bit. Yeah, it had Christina Loken, which, if I'm not Christina Loken was the Terminator from Terminator 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has some names in there: Meatloaf, Michelle Rodriguez, Benny Kingsley, Geraldine Chaplin, Billy Zane, Le Carrier, Michael Madsen. Yeah, it has some names in there. Yeah, I'm right. And it was like they changed it because, of course, this one was about an earlier time.
Right.
It was supposed to have been like, from what I'm seeing from the description, it was like, maybe 15th, 16th century, something like that. Like the old kind of night days and stuff like that. And to where, like I said, the video game starts off she's in World War II. But of course, she's a vampire. I give them that. They can be immortal, so it could be any kind of time frame you could throw her in. You could throw her in futuristic, and it would still somehow work. And the thing is, she looked similar to what she would look like, but the movie was just trash. There was stuff in there. There was, and one thing that always kills me is when you have movies with sex scenes and that don't make no sense. Don't add that in there if it don't make no sense. I hate that because this is just like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. But
like we talked about during part one with Jade being half naked in Annihilation, they just threw that in there for no reason. That was kind of like sex scenes in Blood Rain. They're just like, oh, we're gonna throw this in here, and it makes no sense.
Yep, the same kind of thing, and but I mean, it's like you said about Alone in the Dark. It's very similar to that. It's when you just throw on and watch, you fall asleep.
Yeah,
but I ain't gonna say it's awful, but it's
awful enough.
It's one of the ones, man. I think they could have done a lot better in other hands.
Yeah,
like this
it's an acquired taste,
right? It should have been on the same level of like passion and love with a theme of like Underworld, that kind of dark, gritty vampire Blade, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff.
Right.
But I do admire them for trying to do like a vampire heroine in like earlier days, but I don't know. It was a good idea, but just Ubo just kind of wrong stuff. And like I said, the dialogue and some of the stuff, the writing could have been better. But that's Ubo for you, his words. All right. Now we're going to get to what I consider, me personally. I mean, I could be wrong, even on my own personal thoughts if I really think about it. But to me, I think this is probably the best video game adaptation that's made to a film, or film adaptation to a video game, better yet. Silent Hill. To me, Silent Hill. Hold up, but chill. My man back here drumming. But Silent Hill to me was probably the best video game movie made. even though the first one it
Did
didn't
do well.
well, no, it just didn't follow the first game as much. But they flipped it around when they did the second one, which is probably it's on this list too. We'll get to that in a minute. But like it had the same kind of like it from what I expected based on like seeing like playing the game Silent Hill and seeing the atmosphere and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The movie had that same type of like fear to it. It's the atmosphere was just gritty, especially like because in the video game, whenever like I'm not sure if it was when it just became nighttime, but I know it was just a part of the day, a cycle of the day. Whenever it changed from like gloomy, kind of foggy weather to you would see some creatures to no. When it flipped upside down, it would be like the world. You would see what the original, like what happened to the town. Like you would see stuff like burnt up, people burnt up creatures. You would see all kind of like ghastly kind of like creatures and things like that. That's almost unimaginable. And there will be a lot more creatures and stuff you'll have to fight and stuff like that. You'll see like the craziest of things. And the movie played on that really well. They really had that kind of thing. And plus,
they did a really good job adapting the video game atmosphere into the movie, and
right.
That was one of the very few video game movies that I enjoyed.
Right. And one cool thing about it is that, because if I'm not mistaken, I think in the game they talk like through the lore of the game, you learned about what had happened to the town and like the cultists and how they burned down all that stuff. To where in the movie they added that element into the storyline, and I thought that was really cool, and how they folded everything together. To like I said, this is one of the ones to where they took liberties, but they made it so good. It's kind of like how they do with some of the Marvel stuff, where they take liberties with it, the MCU.
Yeah,
but they make it work out well. It's the same thing with Silent Hill. But yeah, dude, it was just like,
it was a good movie.
Right. It wasn't like Resident Evil. It wasn't no action. It was like, oh no, Pyramid Head's coming. I'm hiding. It's like you scared for the girl running around. Like, oh my god. Not the girl, but the mom.
That movie was Silent Hill was more of the like suspense horror type,
right?
That had those jump scares,
right?
And like I said, I enjoy it. That's one of those movies that I could actually watch again and again and never get tired of it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know about watch again and again. I mean, like, I understand what you're saying, but watching it again and again, it freaked me out.
I think that was the wrong wording, but
no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
right. I mean, on a personal level, like it's a favorable movie. Yeah, you can watch it again and it's good.
Yeah, and also that's one of those movies like you can watch multiple times and catch things that you didn't originally catch within like the first watch or the second watch,
Right. Matter of fact, I might one of these days go back and watch it because I hadn't seen it in a while. Like I saw it in theaters. Me and my buddy Harry went and saw it. Because he's a big video game fan too, and he played more like Silent Hill stuff than I did. He's all into like, especially if it's like a Japanese, like he's anime head. Like I'm into anime and stuff too, but he's like that guy that buys like all the stuff. Like when it comes to like RPGs, it's like Japanese video games and manga anime. That's his bag. So when he saw this, he was like, "Oh, I'm on it." So we went to go see it, and one of the things, dude, I think if I'm not mistaken, dude, I know if I didn't stand up in the movie theater, I know I looked at him awkward. It was like, what was this one? Was the one part? Like I said, spoiler alert. If you ain't seen it, I'm sorry, but right. I mean, you ought to have seen it by now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Right. Like for somebody who hadn't seen it, go watch it, and then, like I said, come back and get into this. But dude, I have seen nothing like this. When Pyramid Head, there's the witch, there's Pyramid Head, and then there's that one crazy girl. And, they kind of confront the cultists and stuff.
Yeah.
bro, Pyramid Head grabs the freaking girl's like torso, twists her flesh, pulls it clean off, pulls it off like he busted down a chicken thigh. He pulls the skin clean off and throws it at the door of the church thing like it's a freaking dish rag. I lost it. I was like, what is this? I kind of rubberneck looked at my homeboy. I was like, I hadn't seen that, bro, straight up. I had not seen nothing like that in like I was like Horror McGee, still in Tony Baker's words. Horror McGee did. I was watching horror movies back. I hadn't seen nothing like that. That was mind boggling to see that joker just grab and just said, and all you heard was. I was like, oh no. But
and you also got to think, man, at that time, like something like that level of violence really wasn't in a movie during that time.
Bro, I ain't even seen Jason do nothing like that.
No.
The worst thing I see Jason do besides knock dude head off of a build was grab the camper by the sleeping bag and slam up against a tree.
It's in Jason X, but we're gonna talk about that.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that on another pod. We might get to that on the horror pod that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Let's see. We'll jump past Silent Hill and go to Dead or Alive. DOA. Oh boy. Of course, you know as well as I know, it wouldn't. That movie was just made to bring it. It was made to bring in the same audience that buys the beach volleyball games.
Facts.
For the nasties.
With the tongue out in that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because who was it? It was I'm a big fan of like the DOA video game franchise. It's one of the best fighters to me.
Yeah, it ranks up there pretty high for me.
Right. Let's see, because I have somewhere, I don't know where it's at. I have to look, but I have like 1 and 2, like the collector's edition.
Mm-hmm.
And them are the ones I have. But 2 was dope. 2 was super dope. But anyway, who was it? It was, I'm going off the dome. I know Devin Aoki, which, Steve Aoki's sister, who's a model, and she's played in some other stuff. She was in, what is that movie? What is that dang? I'm about to say Death Proof. That's not right. It's the Frank Miller movie. What's it called? Sin City. Yeah, she was in Sin City. She's been in some other stuff too. I just can't think of all what she's been in, but I know she was originally like a model or something like that. And I'm trying to, who else you had? What's her name? Something Presley, the one that was on. Let's see, hold on. Debbie Aoki played Kasumi.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I'm gonna say Jamie Presley. That's not right. I'm gonna have to look at the one that played in what's the one with what's his face? Yeah, Jamie Presley is Jamie Presley. What's the show with my guy that was on Mallrats? I can't remember the name of that show for nothing now. I used to love it too. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, she was in it weirdly enough because she wasn't in a whole lot of movies. She was on Bring It On. Yeah, she was in Bring It On. She was the bad guy on there, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who. I might have to click on it. It said Holly something was Sarah Card. I don't remember who was who. Other than Devin Aoki was a Yumi, and Jamie Presley was what's her name? I can't remember her name for nothing. See, this is mess up. Oh, see, I didn't know Paul W.S. Anderson had something to do with this too. Of course, Paul W.S. Anderson is the director of the Resident Evil movies, and he's also married to Mila Jovovich. Yeah. Tina, that's her name. Yeah, Tina. Jamie Presley was Tina. I don't know who Christy was. I guess that she, weirdly enough, they got her in the middle, even though Ayumi was like the main character for like DOA through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Kasumi. I call her Ayumi. Kasumi. My bad.
Joker
Dude,
getting
I'm
names
trash.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, Christy Allen was Valence. Who's Valence? I thought she was what's her name? Man, see, it's messing me up. I thought she was Ayane, or however you pronounce it. Ayane. That's how I say Ayane. But I don't know, dude. But anyway, the movie was bad. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop facts. The movie was bad.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Bad. It's terrible. Don't watch it.
No, it wasn't terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. Like, I'm low key just to go ahead and drop off a what do you call that? Public service announcement. There ain't no fighting game movies that's good. Just go get it out there. Except for maybe
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat. The first Mortal Kombat.
A little bit. That's the only one that gets some love. But all the rest
Fighter,
of them,
the rest of them, no.
I mean, the plot was pretty much like most of the
DOA
other fighting game
volleyball
movies. It was like it was just like any other. It was like, okay, there's a fighting tournament. Ooh. We go fight in it, and then the movie's gonna be bad. That's all it was. Basically, kind of followed the storyline of the game, but of course, right, and it has like majority of the characters that's in it. But I forgot Kevin Nash was Bass Armstrong. That's funny. Why would you have Kevin Nash as Bass? When Bass is kind of like hefty, I figured he looks more like he's modeled after Hulk Hogan, but it is what it is.
I so forgot about Kevin Nash being in that movie.
For all good reasons.
Actually, to be honest, Kevin Nash has been in a lot of movies that you totally forget he was in, with the exception of Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze.
True. But I will say, after Street Fighter, although the movie seemed to somewhat stay with similar to the resource material, so I give him that. That's all I can give him. Resident Evil Extinction is what we're going into next. Now that's the one I think that had Ashanti in it. Where they were in the desert, and it had Mike Epps in there too, because I think Mike Epps and Ashanti was supposed to have like this kind of little romance and stuff. And we don't even know why they put Ashanti in the movie. She literally. I remember this. I remember I went to the theater to see this one. She was just start from the beginning, because it's just like random startup. She was in there in the beginning. She was just with the crew.
You see this right here?
Hold up, no, I'm not looking at the screen.
You see this right here?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. It needs to get tossed. That's true. It needs to get tossed. That's for sure. Absolutely. And is there anything we need to say about that other than it wasn't horrible though? Like it's just the Resident Evils don't really change much.
No, because it's basically the same plot, but
right.
Extinction, like I say,
was Extinction. Was that the one that had Chris Redfield? I think it was. I think Extinction had Chris Redfield in it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna click on it just to make sure, just because I don't want to get that messed up. Yeah, Alice. Yada. It had Claire. Claire was in it, I think. Yeah, Claire. That's one had her. She was in it from the start too. Of course, Carlos, I think, was in there ever since number 1, 2, something like that. But I don't consider him a main character. Of course, he was a character, but he wasn't like
he wasn't a main character.
Right. But yeah, they were just fighting in Las Vegas desert. Yeah, against Tyrant. Wasn't a whole lot. Progresses the storyline. There's not really much to say about it other than that.
Yeah.
And we'll keep it pushing. Like Resident Evil's we had to talk much about. Postal. Really?
I forgot they did a movie on Postal.
Right.
Because that's one of those games that don't get talked about.
It for all good. Well, I'm about to say for all good reasons, but that's not right to say, because it was a popular game. But the reason I say for all good reasons was because it was one of those games that was really, I want to say, almost blackballed. You didn't really know much about it. And it had a sequel, and I knew about it. Yeah, because it was called Zombie Apocalypse. And the only reason I got it from Bobby. Weirdly enough, I got them both from Bobby. He had both of them.
Oh man!
But Postal was a dope. Postal was what was like following after that Grand Theft Auto kind of, you know, thing.
So it was like a big sandbox open world.
Sort of, but it wasn't nowhere near as big. It was just like you could do a bunch of like messed up stuff. And it was, you know, because that's when video games started to get a little more risque and stuff like that. And, you know, it was kind of like you take the humor of Duke Nukem and mix it with Grand Theft Auto. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
And the quest was weird on there, but it was fun. It was altogether fun. Both of them were. As far as the movie, weirdly enough, it was the best one that Ubo had made.
Ubo made Postal.
Yeah, he made Postal. And I will say this, the most controversial. It's probably still one of the most controversial movies to this day. Because have you ever seen Postal?
That's one of the few video game movies I haven't seen.
Well, let me drop this little. It's not really much of a spoiler. It's literally right at the beginning. The first scene in the movie. And this is hot off the press of, you know, the sad disaster that happened in 9/11. Like, this might have been a couple years. Well, how long was it? Let's see. 9/11 was
happened in 2001.
2011. And we say 2001?
Yeah.
And let's see. Postal was 2007. So it wasn't that far of a gap. You know, folks are still been, you know, let me rephrase that. I'm about to say been out of shape, but that's insensitive to say. I don't mean been out of shape, but people are still sensitive about what happened 9/11, right? The first scene in Postal is literally two Afghani, I'm assuming the Middle Eastern guys, hijacking a plane and crashing to the Twin Towers. And they're kind of joking about it in the beginning. Wow. I'm surprised. Yeah, like they're literally like kind of second guessing it. Like, you know, two guys second guessing, like, oh, well, maybe we should do this. And then they end up, you know, they're not paying attention. They crash to the planes. That's the first scene of the movie.
Oh, wow.
And it really had nothing to do with the storyline. It was just Ubo was like, I'm going to dig a hole and put myself in it.
And sure enough, I think with a scene like that, I think he did. And he never crawled out of it.
Yeah, it was weird. But okay, I got to go back. Like I said, I really would apologize. I didn't mean to say instances about 9/11. It was, like I said, it was tragic for sure.
Yeah,
you know. But I'm just trying to speed through this. But Postal, the storyline of the game was almost. I mean, the movie was almost just like how the game would be. It was weird and funny at the same. It was funny, but it was like that kind of. It was very, very like toilet humor type stuff. It was literally like, to break down the story.
It's almost like South Park.
Almost. But it had weirdly enough, the story was solid. Sadly enough, it was this guy who, you know, was supposed to be the poster guy, you know, this redheaded kind of dude. All this bad stuff is happening to him. You know, he's trying to be a stand-up guy, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to live his life, but, you know, like I remember one part was like his old lady cheats on him with, like, they're living in a trailer park. His old lady's like, you know, and like she's like this big 600-pound woman, but she's cheating on with like the neighbor and stuff like that. He's just kind of like taking it, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's aware of it. It's that kind of scenario, but he's just kind of like, okay, you know, and goes about his business.
And just finally he snaps.
Right. And this is gonna be funny if I remember this, because I think I just remember something. Let me make sure. The guy that played him was somebody. Who was it? Is that right? Zach Ward? Yeah, Zach Ward, what was he in? He was in something I thought was funny. I didn't realize he was in Resident Evil Apocalypse. Funny. Freddy vs. Jason. I thought he did something else too that was like out of pocket. Yeah, he was Scott in the Christmas Story.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the dude with the one that had the yellow eyes. Yeah, I knew it was something out of pocket. Like weirdly enough, like he came back to acting from something. I just can't remember what. But yeah, let me go back to where was that? But yeah, but you know, of course, through all this odd stuff, he finds a girlfriend, and then he starts this whole thing where he's like literally says right here, it says film begins with the prologue showing Asif and Nabi, a fictional portrayal of two of the Flight 11 hijackers during 9/11 attacks, debate the number of verdicts they would get as a reward for carrying out the attacks. After a long debate, they decide to call Osama bin Laden their leader and find out the exact amount. Osama tells them that there are not enough virgins to go around, and upon hearing this, the two hijackers abandoned the attack in dismay and happily changed their flight path to the Bahamas. At the moment, however, the passengers of the plane stormed the cockpit and attempted. Yeah, that's what it was. The passengers stormed the cockpit and they took over the plane. They ended up crashing in anyway. That's what it was. Yeah. That was literally, and it was nothing to do with the story. It was just like, let me throw that in there. Let me put the most. But in the game, they did have some jabs at some of that the terrorist stuff too. It was a whole thing.
Right.
It was wild, but to say the least. But anyway, like I said, it's one of the ones. If you went to if you were to see like a weird and messed up kind of movie, watch it.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi, I think.
Is it?
So have your ball. Like I said, I don't want to ruin the rest of it for you. You just have to watch it. It's a lot more to it. Hold on. Let's see 1 second. Keep it down, bud. Let's see. Where are we at? Let me find the list again. There we go. I mean, I keep forgetting to just go back. See, Postal Hitman. Yeah, with
Hitman was alright. Hitman was alright.
What's his name? Timothy Oliphant. Can't remember how to pronounce his name. I think he directed it too, or something like that.
Yeah.
No, directed by Xavier Gens. Maybe a producer. I know Timothy Oliphant had something to do with it. It was the first of two. They did another Hitman down there, Hitman Agent 47. I don't remember. I hadn't seen that one yet though. So I'll talk about that. How I didn't watch it when we get there. But Hitman wasn't bad. It followed the storyline of the it was on PC, just like how Postal was and how Lone and Dark. But of course, Hitman was also one of those games where it was on PC, but then they start porting it to consoles and stuff, and it just got big, because it was like one of the first like really popular stealth games. Of course, you had Metal Gear Solid during that time, sometime too, but then Hitman was like it was different because you was in like closed environment, you was doing this mission, you got to assassinate people, put them, you played the game. Yeah. But yeah, the movie it wasn't hard because it's basically a 007 movie with kind of like mixing 007 and the Transporter together, kind of like that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, Hitman was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Right, it was still dope. Yeah, dude, he did a good job. He did a real good job. Yeah,
he did a good job as 47. So
right, yeah, he did a real good job. I give him that. I will say that. In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege tale. Now, again, this is Ubo reaching.
I haven't seen this movie.
You don't want to because this is also Jason Statham's worst movie.
Jason Statham is in it?
He's the lead role, and it's based on the Dungeon Siege PC video game series, which I was a fan of. This has nothing to really do with Dungeon Siege, I don't think. From what I remember, I don't think it has anything to do with the actual story. I think it's just like a fantasy film. And yeah, Ron Perlman's in it, Ray Liotta. It has some big names in there. But guess what? It's terrible. It's terrible. I tried watching. I watched about like 5-10 minutes of it, and he was fighting these bad guys in there, and they were literally like a Power Ranger fighting buddies. That's what it was.
Basically, I was like, no, one of those. Put the movies on, watch the end credits, fall asleep.
Right, because like me and Randy had started watching it, and then we was like, you know what? This is bad. Like I didn't mean to sound snobby, but it's a bad movie. I don't mean to. Come on, it's a bad movie. It's bad. All right, so you hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen much of it. Like I said, it had some big name people. It was just horrible. And wonder what's funny?
What?
Guess who did the next movie we're about to talk about? Ubo did Far Cry, which from what I heard, they're going to do a new Far Cry movie that Ubo had nothing to do with. I hope so, because this is when Far Cry was still kind of like underrated.
Yeah.
It didn't get big until like 3. But like I think there was like 1 and 2, which nobody, they were kind of cool. Like there was 1,000 first-person shooters during like the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era.
360 era, yeah.
They were just throwing, first-person shooters out of there. Just especially like single-player ones. They were just throwing them joints out. But Far Cry was like, it was Ubisoft's baby, and it was like, of course, yeah, it was Eidos and then Ubisoft. But when Ubisoft got a hold of it, that's when it really was like pushing. Like I said, that's when they did Part 3, and Part 3 got really, they started making more of an RPG element to it, and it just took off from there. Now they make one, all the time. I would say all the time. They made like, I think 5 or 6 after that. I can't remember the name of all of them, but they were all nice. They're all nice. They're all good games. But they're all different stories.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they're still great games. But yeah, I watched about 10 minutes of this movie too, and it was bad.
That's enough. Put it on, fall asleep.
Ubo, yeah. So I mean,
yeah, he make a lot of put it on, fall asleep movies.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna keep it a book. He has made a lot of put on and fall asleep movies.
Yeah, and as you see right here in this text, I don't know if you can read it. It says at the last sentence, it says it was a major box office bomb and like Boyz' other films, a critical disappointment. not much else to say.
No, it really ain't much to say after that.
Yep. So let's jump right into Max Payne. Mark Wahlberg. Weirdly enough,
I actually loved Max Payne.
It wasn't horrible, and it wasn't like the game though.
No, it was nowhere near the first game. It had its own story, but for some strange reason, I loved it.
Because in the original game, wasn't it him like trying to get revenge for like his wife and kid getting killed or something like that?
Yeah,
wife and baby. And then when I can't remember if that happened too. It may have, but I know there was some part where he was taking like a psychedelic drug and was seeing crazy stuff, like seeing like these angels and demons and stuff.
Yeah, because that right there was an homage to the movie, to the game. Because in one part of the game, you actually go through that.
Yeah, so it's been kind of like the painkillers or something. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird, but it wasn't bad. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad movie. I really enjoyed it.
Right, like I said, it wasn't horrible. It, like I said, for the sake of video game movies, you got to have a line, of like good and bad. Not right now, baby. But that's one of the ones where it's like, okay, yeah, I'll like on a scale of pass or fail, I give it a pass for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Street Fighter: Legend of Chun-Li.
Trash.
Have not watched it and have not watched it for the purpose that they killed this movie before it even came out, and I wouldn't go watch it.
Just gonna keep on doing it until it's done.
I made the mistake of watching the movie because in my mind I'm thinking to myself, maybe this would be better than the '94 movie. It's much worse.
Yeah, they said it's much worse. Like it didn't even have everybody in the movie.
It was just like it was Chun-Li, Vega, and that's it.
And the lady that played Chun-Li was Kristen Kreuk from Smallville. Looks nothing like Chun-Li.
Yeah, it was almost. It's one of those movies like you watch and you're just kind of like, really.
And then you had what's his name, the dude from the Black Eyed Peas is Vega.
Yeah. Which I will say, if they were to do another Street Fighter movie, I would definitely want him to play Vega again.
No. The first Vega looked more like Vega than him.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think he's like
the first Vega. Actually, now that I think about it, the first Vega was actually believable than him.
Right. I mean,
like you want to look at him and just go, "Bust a 16, bro."
Right. It's like, dude, you be dancing and rapping. I don't want to say.
Even though you do
no shade.
Yeah, no shade. Even though you do the moves, because you practice, martial arts, and you actually do some of that martial arts stuff in your dancing, which I think ain't cool. But, bruh, you're not a believable.
Yeah,
you're not a believable Vega. You short, first of all.
Right. I mean, they could have used him in like another part, like they could have used him as another character, but not Vega.
But then you ask yourself, what other character could you use him as?
I don't know, man. You could have put some makeup on him or something and made him what's his name? Jin?
Maybe.
Was it Jin? No, wait. It's the dude that was like Chun-Li's master. I think his name was Jin. I can't remember. It's my whole lexicon shook up. But but anywho, like I said, I don't know much about it. One of these days I will watch it just for the sake of it.
And you know what? You know what's gonna happen, right?
I'm gonna turn it off in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and if either that or you're gonna fall asleep.
More than likely that. I get some good sleep on it too, boy. I might take my Benadryl just to keep pushing. Just can already know. All right, next on the list is Tekken.
Trash.
One of my favorite games. Well, I will say this from the perspective of, it's one of them ones where they keep trying to push that, just like they kind of did with Double Dragon when they try to push the whole dystopian future type stuff. It did some of that. I will say, like, majority, if not all of the looks of the characters was damn near spot on. Yeah. I give them that.
It's just the movie itself was trash.
Yeah, it ain't the greatest. I will say that. It kind of follows the storyline, but it's
not very much. It follows the storyline maybe 20% of the time.
Well, it kind of really followed it, aside from, if you were to take out the whole dystopian future kind of stuff, which I guess they just use as like atmosphere, it followed the game pretty much. It was like, it was Jin, and it was
Jin trying to
the Mishima Empire. You had you had Kazuya, and everything was pretty much solid. I mean, aside from a bunch of characters was kind of thrown in there just for the sake of it, but at least they did fight. I give them that. They did actually show the fights.
Yeah.
But
the fight things are trash, but we ain't gonna talk about them.
Yeah, you know how that go. But yeah, you know how that go. But yeah, they could have. I will say, yeah, they could have done a lot better. They could have.
They could have done 20 times better. At least make it better than Street Fighter.
No, it was better than Street Fighter. I give them that. It was better than Street Fighter. Not by much.
I put them two on the same plane. But I get taking the edge.
Yeah, not by much. I'm surprised Warner Brothers Pictures did it. I didn't realize that. Yeah, they could have put more of a budget into it.
Big fact.
Can you just?
Yeah.
No, and it might would have been watchable.
Can you just?
But let's see. Okay, we ain't got too far to go. We'll go ahead and jump in and get the rest of them done.
Can you just to
not right now, baby.
To be back.
Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which I say it was good, but I'm like everybody else. They didn't have to use Jake Gyllenhaal as the guy.
No,
it followed the storyline for the most part.
It followed the storyline perfectly. It's just
now,
Gyllenhaal.
You did have the Disney corniness,
but
that just comes with the territory. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It had action in there because it was like, I think it was called like Disney's first kind of I don't know, because was it before or after? I think it was after Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
but it was like one of the properties that Disney did outside of their own stuff, which was weird at the time. But I ain't really got much to say. I mean, it was a good little watch.
Yeah, it was a nice watch. It's just,
but it was
the first Disney movie after Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. So, but they could have used somebody else than Jake Gyllenhaal. That's my only beef.
I think
because like now they're better about trying to use like more actors who are akin to certain roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your character is this race, they'll use that race. That's what they should have done. They should have used a Middle Eastern person for,
Yeah.
that role. But okay, moving on. Resident Evil Afterlife, that was the one that had Leon in it finally for a smooth 5 minutes.
And guess how much they paid him?
A smooth $5.
There you go. That's the first time in the podcast we've said that.
Right. And I mean it was the build up to the last movie. There ain't really much else to say.
No.
And it was like Leon with the Resident Evil 4 out, kind of like the leather kind of aviator type jacket and stuff.
Yeah, that was it.
Not much else to say. I don't remember much else. Yeah, it had some other characters in there too from the game. I can't remember the one cat's name. But moving on, Resident Evil Retribution. Not too long ago, because not to ruin it, but at the end of Afterlife, they literally teased Retribution right after, so you knew it was coming.
Right,
it was coming soon. Retribution is the end of the series.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was just them trying to end it. There was
because it was more like those last two Resident Evil movies. They were just kind of rushing them and trying to get them out and trying to end the series.
Yep. And I mean, honestly, not much to say. It was just the end. It was. I don't remember if it really did. It have a. I don't remember if it had any other real. It had some other people in there, but I don't remember who all was in it. That was.
I don't remember the main character in that one.
Oh, my bad. I had it all jacked up. It's the final chapter was the last one. Retribution. Oh, my bad. Yeah, we messed that order kind of up. But yeah, it was final Retribution and the final chapter was back to back. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Retribution was the one that had Ada Wong, Leon, and Barry. Yeah, that was the one that they finally threw all them in there. My bad. I messed that up. I knew something. It seemed like something was kind of weird. I knew there was a bunch of them. But anyway, like I said, you said it don't matter. They're almost all the same thing. it's mostly the Alice story trying to go after freaking Umbrella the whole time, and she meets the Resident Evil gang along the way. It's basically that entire story through all of them. I'm just go ahead and jump into Resident Evil's final chapter because I don't think it was on the list. Weirdly enough, it might have been. I could be messing up. Yeah, she fights a clone of Wesker. Like I said, it finishes up the series.
Yeah.
Not much to say. Yeah, it had Ellie Larder back in there as Claire, and
that was it.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot really pushing. They had a bunch of new characters. Ruby Rose was in it. Ruby Rose was popping. She was in everything ever since Orange is the New Black. Blah 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 blah. I mean, they're not bad movies. It's just something you just watch.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to get to this one, Silent Hill Revelation, which let me flip the script on, like I said, when I was saying the whole Silent Hill was one of the best ones, it's 1A and 1B with Silent Hill and Silent Hill Revelation, which
Revelation good. Revelation is real good.
Right. It's a straight up sequel, but the thing is to where the liberties they took in one, which was the liberty was that to the game, the girl's father was actually the main character. His name was Harry or something like that.
Yeah.
And in the movie, they switched it and made it where it's the mom, right?
Right.
To where Revelation kind of scooted, where, okay, apparently at the end of the first one, the dad, which is supposed to be Harry, goes out and looks for the mom, right? Which that's where it kind of, adds it where it's like, okay, where this is actually where the first game starts. And they kind of skip through the first two games and goes right to the storyline of the third game, which includes where you find out where they do some fixing. They do some, as a Joe Budden them say, where they're talking about that, the Migos, they do some straightening, a little bit of straightening.
Right.
Just a little bit of straightening. They made it where this was based after 3. You find out that the girl is actually supposed to be Alice, which was the main character. Wasn't that her name? That was the main character in 3.
Yeah, Alice.
And my bad, I clicked on Resident Evil again. But they actually give her the blonde hair, made her look like everything, and literally everything and the characters they use, because Sean Bean plays as the dad. He's supposed to be Harry. But they literally based, because I remember watching my brother play through 3, so I know 3 straight up.
Right.
And Revelation followed right after that game, and 3 is like one of the most well-known Silent Hill games anyway, for all kind of different reasons. But it was dope too. It was really dope, and it was in 3D, which I didn't see it in theaters, so I saw it on like Netflix. But the way you can see how they did the 3D, like there was stuff like, as you can see in the poster, there's like blades and stuff coming out of the way they did the foreground and background stuff. The transitions.
Oh, yeah, it was almost like when they did My Bloody Valentine in 3D.
Right. And yeah, because they did that a lot like that. And the cool thing is like they really made it grittier.
Yeah.
And 1 was already kind of pretty gritty, but this one was just as gritty. Like there was, all kind of stuff in there. They really went in on it,
Yeah, they really pushed the envelope on this one.
Right. And this had a young Kit Harington, who was, I think, doing this and Game of Thrones at the same time.
Yep.
So it was, and it had some well-known people. It had Carrie Ann Moss, like I said, Sean Bean. I don't know. I don't know. Rada Mitchell. I know she played in something. I just can't think what. Neighbors. Oh, that's a soap opera. Neighbors. I've heard of that soap opera though. Deborah Kerr Unger. Highlander 3, the game. Yeah. I didn't know who she was. Oh, was she the mom in the first one? Okay, my bad. But anyway, like I said, it had some pretty well-known people in there. But it was probably, like I said, it's 1A and 1B, the Silent Hills. Like, see, it literally says based on Silent Hill 3 by Konami.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody was to say, hey, Damo, what video game movies would you suggest? It's top of your list. Silent Hills, bro. Watch the Silent Hills 1 and 2. Like I said, they really put some love in those games. Who did those? I'm trying to see who did them joints over here. I'm pointing stuff out, and I was sitting here looking at the wrong browser. But anyway, I'm still looking at Postal. My bad.
Yeah, I was wondering when you was gonna change that.
Yeah, because I had it loaded up on my other browser too. Yeah, there's of course Silent Hill 1. Then yeah. We skipped through. My bad. Revelation, yeah. But yeah, it was based on Silent Hill 3. It was dope. Like I said, I put it at the top of my list. Okay, moving on. Let's see. We still got to look. We ain't got too far to go. Need for Speed.
Hold on. I gotta get my chair. Hold on. Because I got a lot to say about this.
Mm-hmm. Good old Need for Speed. Oh, who did? Open Roads Films did Revelation. Okay. Man, shout out to them. Need for Speed was done by, am I seeing it right, by Disney?
Yep.
Wow. Did not know that.
All right,
I don't remember seeing that.
First of all, let me I gotta talk bad about the movie, first of all.
Oh, go ahead.
First of all, shout out to my man Kid Cudi. One of my biggest inspirations as not only a person, but as a content creator and everything. The guy has got me
through for one time.
Yeah, his music has gotten me through some really tough times in life. Now, with that being said, Scott Mescudi, what were you doing thinking about taking this role? You ain't nothing but Tej from Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, he was just trying to get paid. He was the token black guy.
Yeah. He was the token black guy ain't the word.
My man stole a whole helicopter in the movie from the military.
Yeah, that was the jacked up part. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you, the first time I ever watched this movie, I was on I was hanging out with a girl at the time I was dating, her sister and her boyfriend. They had never seen the movie. None of us had never seen the movie. I was the first person to point out, oh, Kid Cudi. And they just looked at me like I was stupid. But as I watched this movie, I started to realize this movie is horrible.
Right.
First of all, ain't got nothing to do with the game. The police chases, that's it.
Yeah. But on that side note, it didn't really need to.
No.
It did.
Then they got one scene in the movie where dude driving the car, Cudi done flew down with a helicopter, and they got their other two homies in a truck getting gas out of the truck to keep the car running.
And weirdly enough, this was when what's his name? What's his name? Adrian something Paul something. I don't remember the name. Dude from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
This is when he was coming. Kind of. Aaron Paul. My bad. This is when he was getting kind of hot off in the Hollywood.
It was just like, man, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, they ruined my guy Kid Cudi.
But that's all it was one of the mini Fast and the Furious clones. Just like was a Red Line and
Biker Boys,
yeah.
Man. But that was, to me, I thought Need for Speed was a true Fast and the Furious clone.
Right.
Granted, Need for Speed is a better gaming franchise than the Fast and Furious games.
Oh, yeah.
But
you shout out to that franchise.
Yeah. But still, man, it's like they did stick with the plot of like these exotic cars and this, that, and the other. But also at the same time, I was seeing like these Japanese imports, and it's just kind of like, okay, y'all going too far.
Right. They were honestly they was trying to ride the hype that Fast and Furious had, while the hype was kind of dying. What as big as it was. Like,
and really, if you really want me to be honest with the Fast and the Furious franchise, I have not watched Fast and Furious since Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, I think that might have been the last one. I saw bits and pieces of one after that, but I'm not in a hurry to go catch
even that franchise is going too far-fetched.
Right.
But we'll talk about that on a different podcast.
Shout out to like the people that's really into like that like kind of racing car culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not for me, so I'm not. I watch them because I like the movies and I like some of the cars and stuff like that. But it's not one of the ones I'm rushing to.
Right.
Or Hitman Agent 47, which I hadn't seen this one yet.
It's not as good as the first one, but it's good.
So here's my question: is it a remake or is it follow along with the same storyline as the first one?
I forgot which game that it's based on.
I'm guessing it's kind of like a remake, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not necessarily a remake, but it's a remake, but it's not a remake. You get what I'm saying?
Right, where it's kind of like a whole different story, kind of.
Yeah.
Right. I feel you. Warcraft. We'll just jump onto that. Which I thought Warcraft.
Warcraft I haven't seen.
Warcraft was dope, but it could have been better. They were trying to add a storyline to. I mean, if you know anything about the game, you have two sides. You have the Alliance and you have the Horde, and they were trying to make it where the Alliance and the Horde would come together and face kind of like how they do in the game, where it's like a whole nother. I forgot what they're called, the Purge or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a whole nother like third party. It's almost like you're taking sword and sorcery and making it kind of like, or fantasy and making it kind of like the whole dilemma with Transformers. Decepticons, Autobots, similar to that. But let's see. For the most part, it was pretty good. It could have been a lot more to it, but
that's definitely one of
okay.
You go to be right back.
I can't write that, baby.
Fine.
I can't write that.
Fine.
I can't do it right now, baby, on here. Let's see. Even though I think the movie I think it didn't do as well as they thought it would. It grossed a lot of money, but it just didn't do as well. But there's a whole like huge fan base for like the World of Warcraft game and stuff like that. So it came hot off the heels of that, but it just didn't I don't know. It was one of the ones where it got their money in the box office, but after that, it just kind of fell flat. But it's not a bad movie. Like if you're it's just a fantasy movie. It's a good fantasy movie though. So that's all I really got to say about that. Which no, there is one thing I do have to say. They didn't include a lot of the different races, which I wish they would have. But it is what it is. My bad. Did you drop yourself out? Or did you
yeah, I dropped myself out. My bad.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Warcraft. There ain't really a lot to really say about it, other than like I said, it's a good little fantasy.
Like you say, it was dope, but it could have been better. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
Right, and like I was saying, they didn't add in all the other races in there, and I think that's what kind of messed that up. It just focused on the humans and the orcs.
Yeah,
they should have added in like all the night elves and the blood, like the whole elf aspect. They didn't do
different
a lot of the
factions.
trolls. Well, the different races.
Okay. Different
basically, yeah, they just focused on the humans and the orcs, and like I said, I think that's what kind of didn't make it do as well. Let's see. Let's skip one past and do. Here, I really got to get off this one and get on the wood on Firefox so I can change this round. Okay, there we go. We did Need for Speed, Hitman, Warcraft, Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is dope. I would say that it's dope.
It's okay.
Well, the thing is, I give them credit because it does like how they do all the other Assassin's Creeds, like where it's basically they're talking about this one member in a storyline of like you're in this bloodline, right? And they're in the company. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, they're the Templars, and like I say, it's this whole thing. History.
Yeah,
the Templars and the
I get the point of the Assassin's Creed. So
right, and it does it's almost like a movie adaptation of what a video game could have been.
Right.
And you got my dude old Facebender in there, Michael Facebender. He did a good job, and this was kind of like his pet project because he really wanted to get this off the ground. His company, I think, did it. His company had produced it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not gonna click on nothing. If not, if somebody will see it, they can wiki it and Google it, whatever. But it's basically just like the games where it's like, okay, it's like I said, a bloodline. It's you got one person who's the modern, and then they're trying to go back in time and trying to piece together like some information, and that's surrounded around his ancestor who's a member of the Assassins.
That's right.
That's it. There's really not much else in that. It was just it's just a good story, and they're trying to find these different artifacts that have to do with, the whole lore. That's a whole other thing involved in Assassin's Creed. So it's like I said, it's just kind of like a movie adaptation of what one of the video games could have been. We already talked about Resident Evil Final Chapter, so we'll go ahead and go past that. The new Tomb Raider,
which I haven't seen.
I'll say it's pretty dope. I'm not no, let me take it back. It's not that good, but it's good. It's a good watch. It follows after the new game. That's all it really did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing about it. It was just supposed to fall after the new reboot of the game. Weirdly enough, you don't see that happen with a movie and a video game. It's like, okay, game reboot. Let's make a whole movie.
Yeah, game reboot, movie reboot. Yeah,
right. But like I said, not really a whole lot to say about it. It's just a good watch. And the one thing I think is cool, it does kind of have that. Like you've played some of the Uncharted games, right?
Yeah, it has that feel.
Right. That's basically how the new games are, and that's basically how this movie did. It was trying to give you that kind of a survival element more than it is her being a treasure hunter.
Okay.
Like the original. So, I mean, like I said, not a whole lot really else to say than that. Good action, Okay, we'll skip on to Rampage.
Rampage. I thought
I hadn't seen it, but I have it. This is one of the ones where they're just trying to use The Rock to sell stuff.
And for the most part, The Rock did good. They did pay a lot of homage to the original Rampage game, so
I hope so.
I thought that I was okay with that.
Right. Okay. I give since I hadn't seen it, I'll take your word for it, and I'm gonna watch it. And I'm sure I'm sure it can't be that bad. I just hadn't heard anything about it. But the game itself was literally just you going around getting points, destroying buildings, Godzilla, Godzilla vibes. It wasn't much else. So I mean, I imagine they just added a storyline to it from what the trailer looked like. So I'm not mad at that.
Right.
Dead Trigger, I didn't know they even had a movie of this. And it's based on a mobile game, weirdly enough.
How does a mobile game get a movie?
It's getting like that, man. For long, it's gonna be like, you're gonna see all kind of other ones just gonna be obscure. That's kind of like how they did, what was it called? Dead, the other one, the other zombie movie. But of course, all those were like Crackle originals. But and then now they're all on Tubi and stuff. Dead something. What's the one with Frank West? Dead Rising. And they did like 3 of those too, which I don't know. Don't even ask me. Okay, moving on, because I don't know much about the mobile game or the movie other than like it's some zombie stuff. There's not much to say. Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu, weirdly enough, is like one of the dopest video game movies, which I don't really classify it as much as a video game movie, even though I know there's a Detective Pikachu game and then there's Pokemon games.
Yeah.
But this, to me, I thought it was really dope. To me, if you hadn't seen it, to me, I would call it a modern day Roger Rabbit.
Pretty much, because that's all it is.
Because there's a lot of jokes. It has like that.
Yeah, a lot of like dirty under the carpet jokes.
Well, it's not quite dirty, but they're it's Ryan Reynolds, so
Yeah, because it's Ryan Reynolds. This is like right after he did Deadpool.
Right. So his hype is building up again.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was good. It was cool to see like different Pokemon and how they interacted in this new world environment. And I think because they did so well with this movie, they're supposed to do like a live action series. I think Netflix is doing it. I don't know if it's related to Detective Pikachu, but I don't know. I ain't really got much else to say about it. I just thought it was dope. Sonic the Hedgehog. I got beef with it.
Everybody has beef with it. Even
after the fans rallied and had him redesigned.
Yeah, it was still a bad movie.
Well, the thing is, it had potential. They shouldn't have made it where it was like him in this like modern world and he's interacting with this human.
If they'd have did the movie in the Sonic universe, I'd have been okay with it.
And see, that's the thing that kills me, because they did for like the first 5 to 10 minutes. He was in his universe, but then he goes to our world.
And that's when the movie went downhill.
And that's when it went downhill. But at the same time, I think it was trying to attract children and make it a little more. I don't know.
I will say this: the saving grace of that movie, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is hilarious. That dude, he could be in anything and make it good. I'll say that.
I am a fan of Jim Carrey, so he was the saving grace of that movie. Yeah.
And they hinted at them finna do part 2. Spoiler alert!
All that. So.
Yeah, I was like, spoiler alert. Yeah, Tails in it. Then you see the China's at the beginning.
Yeah,
whole thing. I hope in part 2 they learn their lesson and keep it in his world.
Yeah,
we'll see though. We'll see. Moving on, Monster Hunter. I hadn't seen Monster Hunter yet. It ain't nothing but it ain't nothing but Resident Evil again.
Pretty much.
From what I see, I heard it's pretty good though. So I
haven't seen Monster Hunter,
but it's literally Paul W.S. Anderson directing a Capcom movie, just like, and he's married to Mila Jovovich. Guess who's the star? Mila Jovovich. But they also have the dude from I think it's the dude from Ong Bak. He's in there as one of the characters from Monster Hunter. I love the game.
Yeah, the games are dope.
And the stuff, the stuff they have in the movies, like I've seen some of the props and some of the atmosphere, the dragons and stuff, they look good. So I'll give it a chance. I have to watch it. And that's all I can say about it, because I don't know anything else aside from that. The new Mortal Kombat.
I've heard a lot of good and bad about it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet, but I heard it. Yeah, I'm like you. I heard mixed reviews. I heard it was good because it got a lot more grittier. It's
And
rated R.
they actually had Asian actors
Right,
playing these characters, so it
yeah,
makes perfect sense.
right.
And
They were doing it a
the
lot
one
better.
thing about that movie that kind of concerns me is it revolves around. I mean, it doesn't really concern me, but it's like the movie is basically revolved around Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Well, and then they had the new character Cole,
Yeah,
which people didn't like that. They didn't like
yeah.
the
Nobody liked Cole.
addition. They pulled a Resident Evil with that. They was like, okay, we'll add this new character in here revolve around him. But yeah, I do. But they plan for it to be a trilogy, so it's good that they focus on Scorpion and Sub-Zero because that's a huge element of the game. It's their
Yeah.
rivalry.
And I like the fact that it tells that entire for like the first, I think, like 5 minutes of the movie, it tells Hanzo's I can't get his name right, but it tells Scorpion's backstory.
Right.
So, which a lot of people already knew, but like it tells it in detail.
Right. It gives it to you, it focuses on it. So it'll make it a little better once they start doing it. I guess when they start doing more movies of it, because my bad, I think I said a trilogy, but I think this was do like a franchise, like MCU style,
Right?
Which would be cool because then you'll see a lot more of the Mortal Kombat.
You'll see more.
Lore.
You'll see more of the characters throughout the entire gaming franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this movie starts, I think at Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so
they're going backwards in the timeline instead of.
Huh?
Yeah, they're going backwards in the timeline.
All right. I'm gonna have to check it out right now. It's on HBO Max. It's on DVD. No, it's not on DVD yet. It was in
No,
theater.
I'm waiting for it to hit Blu-ray because then that's when I'll buy it.
Well, eventually I might just drop that little $10, $12 something and get HBO Max for like a month or something and watch a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna be the kitchen folk.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it because ladies and gentlemen, I still buy Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yeah, I still plan to buy it, but
so
it's just gonna be a while.
But for a guy who collects fucking wrestling figures, I still buy. Yeah, I also collect Blu-rays and DVDs.
Oh yeah, like I have a whole like collection for like that's one of the things I'm trying to do is like collect a bunch of like the video game adaptions of stuff. Like that's one thing I've been doing like lately. Like I think I said I had Max Payne, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. Weirdly enough, I have the second one, Mario Brothers, which was like I was surprised I found it. And there's a bunch of other ones I have too. It's just they're way over there. I ain't want to look at it. But yeah, man. I just want them all for sure buy eventually. Like I think the last one I bought was Rampage, which I just ain't watched it yet.
Great, like I say, I think you will enjoy Rampage.
Yeah, I'm curious, but I'm gonna get my popcorn, and if I'm sure it's kid friendly. I'll probably get the kids and we'll sit there and watch it maybe one weekend or something.
Right.
Werewolves Within. Weirdly enough, this is like the newest movie that they did, and I looked it up. It's based on like I can't remember what it's based on, but it looks kind of funny. I saw the trailer for this, but
I haven't seen the trailer for it.
It's kind of like one of them whodunits.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's one of those, and it's because it's like the game is the game is a VR game. Weirdly enough,
it's based on a game.
Yeah, it's based on a VR game. Yeah, called Werewolves. Because I thought it was based on the I was thinking that one, The Wolf Within, or something like that, like the one game that had like a Telltale game.
Yeah.
But then I was like, this is nothing like that, which that's based on a comic book. So then I looked up about it and I was like, oh, and yeah, it's based on like a VR game where I think it's kind of like the Wolf game or something like that.
Yeah,
I could be mistaken. The Ultimate Werewolf, where it's like you're trying to figure out who the wolf is and stuff.
Yeah.
It's something like that. That's why the movie is kind of like a whodunit. They're trying to figure out who the werewolf is. But it looks funny though. I give him credit. It does look funny. So I'm gonna have to check that out. I said it's like I said, we're getting to this day and age where it's not just console stuff. It's gonna be some.
Yeah, it's gonna be mobile games.
It's gonna be mobile games. It's gonna be indie games. It's gonna, like I said,
Yeah.
they did Angry Birds, so that's a mobile game.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that on this list? Because there's an animation section too. I'm not going through all that. We're just doing live action right now. Yeah. So it's there's gonna be some changes as far as how gaming is today. It's different.
Very different.
Like I said, eventually they're gonna do another Dungeons and Dragons, which is tabletop, but really enough. It's not video game, but okay, but sort of not. But anywho, yeah, they're doing a bunch of different stuff, man. They're changing the game. I'm gonna be surprised when they start making indie games like movies. That's what's gonna be the one. Because I imagine maybe one of the first ones will be like Undertale or something like that.
One of the times that I had mom here to talk to about something.
Let's see.
I'm gonna get away from me so
I'm
far.
trying to see what they're talking about with some the new one's coming out. Uncharted. You seen anything about Uncharted yet?
I've seen a little bit about it. I'm curious. I'm
One
very
thing
curious.
I saw where it's Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Originally, they talked for a long time. They wanted Nathan Fillion to do it. He did a short film, which was dope, based on Uncharted.
Yeah.
But he does kind of look aged for the role.
They're probably going to get a younger.
Well, they got Tom Holland. But yeah, I think they did that because they plan to do more of them. So, he's going to age with those movies.
Right.
Kind of like how he's doing with Spider-Man and stuff. I skipped over that Welcome to Raccoon City. I think that's I don't know if that's going to be, because, they're doing a Resident Evil TV show. And it's going to, I don't like it. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Dude, I like the dude that plays as Wesker, but he's black, man.
Yeah, we had to talk about this at work the other day.
Yeah, I'm like my dude Young Ripper, man. Some of that tokenism, dude, I can't do. I don't like when they change. Look, if you're going to do something, focus on that character that's, like, if you want to do something about a black character, focus on a black character in something. Don't race swap. Don't gender swap. I just don't like that, man. It feels like it's screwing with the resource material when they do. Like when they do some of the stuff in the MCU where they do like the light touches where some of the characters you don't really care much about, okay, I can deal with that. But I can't deal when they take like a main character, like we're gonna take, and it's weird enough, it's like about Wesker and his family. We don't know nothing about a Wesker family in the video game. Wesker was just a straight up villain. He was a blonde haired dude with shades on, and he was like
a villain. He was just an evil person.
Like he was tricking stars into thinking that he was like on the good side and stuff. He's really on the bad. It's a whole thing. He's really working on Umbrella or something like that. I don't remember.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Sonic 2. You all right?
I'm all right.
We basically talked about that. It's basically going to be Tails, which got teased at the end. Spoiler alert. Borderlands. I don't know if I'm on with this. It's because I'm a fan of the game series.
But do we really need a movie adaptation?
Well, the thing is, it's directed by Eli Roth. That's kind of a red flag already. I mean, Eli Roth does great movies, but he's a horror guy. I haven't seen too many of the other, like, anything outside of the element that he's done, and it's like I don't know. And
Eli Roth is basically the horror guy.
Yeah, you got Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart's in it, and Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know who else.
They putting him in everything now.
Yeah,
I love Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, but don't put him in everything.
Yeah, I don't think this role is for him. Crossfire. What's Cross? I don't know what Crossfire is. Only Crossfire I think of is that old trash board game.
That's what that is.
Shoot the little beads. Moving on. Untitled Detective Pikachu sequel. Like I said, I heard they were supposed to do another Nintendo Pikachu sequel. We'll skip past that. Five Nights at Freddy's. They were supposed to have been done and did this. Yeah, with Blumhouse. I think Blumhouse do a good job. I like Blumhouse work. I like Jason Blum. Yeah. Great producer. Saw franchise and The Conjuring, all that stuff. And weirdly enough, they did that one movie with Nicolas Cage where they kind of beat him to the punch with the whole Friday Nights at Freddy's stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Untitled Gears of War film. They've been trying to do Gears of War for so long. I don't even know if that's going to happen.
I've given up hope on Gears of War.
Dude, they talked about doing Gears of War when they did the first video game, and that was like
that's been like years ago.
Yeah, dude, it's been like almost, I want to say almost 2 decades. So I don't know.
Damn near.
Untitled Ghost of Tsushima film. I haven't heard anything about it.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, that'd be good because I haven't played the game yet, but I've seen some people play it, and it'd be easy to do because it's all, that kind of that
Imperial Japan.
Yeah, the Imperial Japanese time,
Yeah.
A timepiece. That's all it would be. Untitled Just Cause film. Depends on who's doing it. That would, like, the cool thing is if they do Just Cause, I hope Robert Rodriguez does it because this is his bag. And this is also like, if you're really trying to get into like the whole, like I said, befitting stuff, you're trying to do diversity. The character in Just Cause is he's Hispanic. There's a lot of Hispanic, elements in the games. I think he's in like a lot of like in Mexico and like LA and stuff.
Yeah.
So Robert Rodriguez directing it. It's already his type of stuff, that action. Like literally, I think the Just Cause games are based on Robert Rodriguez's works. Like, was it Once Upon a Time in Mexico? That type of stuff.
Yeah.
You just have to add the whole thing where he freaking grapples everywhere. But Untitled Just Dance film.
Do we need that?
No. It would literally just be like
it would be a dance / musical.
Yeah, it would be kind of like Save the Last Dance or something like that. Just dancing. Yeah. Dancing with a story. Mega Man. I don't even know if this is going to happen. They've been talking about this for so long. We'll see. It says Netflix is tied to it. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, Capcom is starting to let more properties out. Weirdly enough, they did a Dragon's Dogma series. I wouldn't have saw that coming.
Right.
They did it.
But Mega Man, yeah.
Minecraft, I'm almost for sure it's going to be animated. Kids will love it. It'll be one of those. It'll be just for kids. Metal Gear Solid, it's almost confirmed that they're doing that because they said Poe Dameron, what's his name? Oscar Isaacs is supposed to play as him, which I can see him doing it, but he's not the one I would ideally choose for Snake, but I can see him doing it. That's all I'm going to say on that. Untitled Rabbids film to be animated if they do it, which I don't do too much with the Rabbids stuff. It's okay. Space Invaders film.
I'm curious.
Kind of obvious of how they would do it. Okay, Tomb Raider Obsidian, which is I guess a sequel. Yeah, from what it's showing is more like a sequel from the first, remake.
Yeah.
Which that'd be cool. But I mean, not much to say. It'll more than likely be kind of how the other Tomb Raiders is. It'll just be like a sequel, but there's nothing really changed. It'll just be a good movie, I'm guessing. Untitled Saints Row film. That would be dope. I don't have high hopes for it.
But it still would be dope. And it
would be dope.
I will honestly say with Saints Row, one of my favorite scenes from that game is when they was in that car singing.
Yeah, and the alien buster. What was it? They were singing.
Yeah, they were singing Just a Friend.
Yeah, Just a Friend.
The alien came out of nowhere. Oh, baby, you. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, I said that's one of the ones where you got
if they do a Saints Row, they have to do that just to pay tribute to Biz Markie and to pay tribute to that scene in the game.
I would love to see like what's his name from The Walking Dead, the one Glenn.
Yeah,
I like to see him play as like Johnny Gat. I think Johnny Gat was Asian. I think.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah, that would be good. I think they could do that and do it well. In my mind,
but which game do you depict the movie from? Do you take elements from all 3 games and put it in the movie? Like, where would you go?
It'd probably be kind of based on kind of like the original, where it's like, okay, dude's getting out of prison. He hooks up with the Saints. He joins the Saints. He rises to the top. But it'd be like comedy the whole way. It would be kind of like
it's gonna be a lot of comedy,
right? So, like I said, it just depends on who. Like I would like to see Ice Cube do it because Ice Cube knows about gang culture and stuff like that. But also, Ice Cube knows comedy. He did the Friday franchise and stuff. I would like to see that.
If people were behind it and gave us at least some of that, at least some of the comedy from like the Friday series. The Friday franchise, I'd be okay with it.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. Untitled Yakuza film. I don't know. I haven't played too much of the Yakuza games. That's one of the game series I never really got into. I wanted to, and I have access to it because I get Game Pass and play like almost all of them, except for maybe the first couple. I think they were like exclusive or something. And
I just started playing Sleeping Dogs today.
Well, Sleeping Dogs is Yakuza, but
yeah. and that and I'm really intrigued by the story in that one.
Now, but speaking of that, I would like to see them do a movie of Sleeping Dogs. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
He dropped a bunch of pellets.
Dude, what you messing with? Oh no, don't dump that in the trash.
Yeah, he's trying.
But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that, about the Yakuza stuff. And I guess that's it. That's the end, pretty much the end of the list.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that they are working on. I mean, it's
me neither.
Like I said, that stuff ain't even been really greenlit aside from maybe the Uncharted one that I think of in Borderlands, maybe Sonic. I don't know. But we'll eventually go back and maybe talk about some of the other stuff like animation, TV series, yada yada yada. But we'll do that another time because we got other type of podcasts. So we just wanted to go back and wrap this up.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you want to drop on everybody?
Nah, man. Just I had I had more fun with this one than with part 2. I had a lot of fun with part 1. I had more fun with part 2. It was fun. It was definitely a fun podcast. I enjoyed myself. Yeah.
That's what's up. Let's see. Of course, you're on YouTube.
Yes. Dee the Toy Hunter. Make sure y'all go subscribe. I'm on my road to 1K. You can follow me on Instagram, Dee the Toy Hunter. You can follow me on Twitter, Dee the Toy Hunter. And yeah, just join me and watch me spend money that I don't need to be spending.
I think that goes for both of us.
Yeah.
But let's see, of course, this is going to be on my Twitch. It's going to be uploaded to my YouTube.
Yep.
Ain't nothing else new, really.
I think we're going to try to make this a constant thing. We're going to try to, get on the
we got to get better about it.
In the flow.
Remember me?
Look at you, starstruck.
Yes, Dory, we remember you.
Man, but yeah, we're gonna try to be a little more consistent with the podcast. And, what else? We got some other topics. Like I said, we were just talking in kind of pre-production about some guests who had already said they would come through
to get something
and things like that. But
this is why my phone looks like.
They see your phone, man. Hold on, let me wrap this up. But yeah, we got guests coming, and there's gonna be some other things, and there's gonna be some. We're gonna talk about some in the future. I know, like I said, some horror movie stuff, some other video game stuff, some
hip hop, wrestling, just
wrestling,
things that we're interested in. So make sure y'all tune in because, like I say, with the guests, you never know who's gonna pop up. Me and Damo, a lot of people don't know this. We're actually related. So the banter between us back and forth, this is normal for us.
Yeah, this is the regular degular right here. We just be cutting on the surface a little bit. Usually we be wilding out, but
yeah,
we know when the topics come, we'll get to that. Those things will come.
Yeah, but we got a lot in store for the podcast, and like I say, Damo, I can't thank you enough for let me be a part of this. This
You
is
know how that go, man.
yeah, the podcast is your brainchild, and I'm just along for the ride, man.
That's what's up. And we had Mike for a good hot 5 minutes again. So
Yeah, but it's
As
all good,
usual.
Mike. It's all good, Mike. We still gonna shot
but yeah, man, we out. That's all I gotta say. 'Cause this dude needs my attention. So God bless. Good gaming. Good whatever you're doing. Just be
Something
good.
I need.
Johnny,
Remember
be
to be
good.
blessed. Be good to your fellow man, and just in a crazy world today, man. Just spread love, give love.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Very important. All right, we out. See y'all next time.
Anna.